If you listen closely, I'll tell you why you shouldn't buy a house. Hi there, my name is Charles Ray Dawson. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, and I am the Associate Broker and Residential Sales Manager for ProStar Realty, and this is episode 121. And once again, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. Got some local news, things to pick up, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of national news going on, although I do got some national numbers. So, I hope you guys are all having a good summer. It's definitely getting into the summertime. Heat's starting to pick up, and market is still going as the market is going. Hell, let's just start there, and we'll work our way through and see what comes up. So, these are the numbers for May 24th, 2023. Actives this week are 11,900, down 73 from the week before. We have 1,823 new listings, down 42 from the prior week. Our contracts are at 2,561, which is up 48. And our closings last week were 1,850. Coming soon to an MLS near you are 679. Now for our Comfort Report numbers, supply keeps dropping. We're down to 53.1 right now. So we have 53 houses where we should have 100. Demand keeps rising at 84.9. And our Comfort Report number for the MLS wide region is 160. Now, some of the news that we got that's going on is pretty big. Is taking a look. We have nothing in a buyer's market anymore. If you were sitting there thinking you wanted to buy into a buyer's market, it's not there anymore. All right. Last two came over from week to week. Maricopa and Buckeye are both into the 90s. Remember, buyer's market is considered anywhere between 90 and 100. All right, and you guys just fell into that. So, but leading the pack still is Chandler at 260.4. All right, that is such a seller's market. Still trending upwards, up from 11% last month, followed by Glendale's, Fountain Hills, Gilbert, Phoenix, Avondale, Tempe, and Mesa, and the list goes on. Our biggest winner so far month over month has been Paradise Valley. And remember, Paradise Valley is a little weird because it's a bunch of rich people, so we drop that out of, don't pay that much attention to them. But it's Tempe. Tempe is up 29%, and I think that has a lot to do with some of the new builds going in down in that Chandler area. We have a news came out today that there's another chip manufacturing company opening up on the south side of the valley. That is meaning a lot of people want to move in that south area, and that's what we see going on in Chandler. Glendale, we see that at the top of the pack, 25% up month over month, because that is an easy drive from Glendale to that little neck of the woods up there that they're putting in the big chip plant off the 303. All right. Gilbert, that's part of the Chandler group and everything like that. Phoenix, well, hey, it's Phoenix. Who does not want to live here? And then Avondale, Tempe. All right. I was just got off the phone about an hour or so ago with a couple of my clients who moved up to Washington, and we were just chit-chatting and stuff. And of course, the husband always asks me, so how's the market going down there? And I'm like, it is seller's market across the board. All right? And I got some other numbers to sort of back up to see what we got going on. One of the things I did want to point out is interest rates have actually ticked up, all right? And this is going to be interesting, right? This is a very, very broad nationwide. These numbers are not going to be your numbers, all right? But as we say, a 30-year fixed is up into the sevens again, all right? VA and FHA loans are definitely the place you want to be, even if you have money to put down. Right. Look at those rates. They're coming in a quarter point lower to start, and that's before you start buying down the rates, and bringing in your credit and everything else. Mostly because those things are government secured loans, lenders feel a lot more comfortable offering a lower interest rate because they have a higher chance of that rate actually, or that mortgage actually getting paid off at the end of the day. People are looking for security with their money right now, and that mostly has to do with the whole looming up default. If we don't get Congress doesn't do its thing and the president doesn't sign it, and now we're actually starting to see the markets adjust to that. They've been talking about this for weeks, right? But now the markets are starting to go, hey, wow, they're still arguing. What the hell? So Watch for these numbers to change very quickly if they come up with some way to, raise that rate or anything. So we're in a little state of flux right now. If you're under contract, I really hope you locked your rate in. So let's continue on, all right? Because this was, so once again, national YouTube channels, national podcasters out there talking about the upcoming crash and everything, and they're talking about the big drops in, how house prices are falling. I see at least once a day some article talking about the house prices are falling. Remember, they're always marking it from here to here, and they're always marking it annually. Right. Remember, this is when this part right here, back there, April, May, June, that was when that interest rate spike happened, and it pushed everything down. But kicking off, right, starting at the second week of January, things have trended up. In fact, Cromford Reports did some of the math on this thing, and they wanted to point out that it has gone up 6.6% between the second week, right here, and the 20th week, right here in May. So 6.6, that tracks out to another 18% year over year if we track from that lowest point right there. Right, so we're at an 18% growth cycle again. Price per square foot. Right, that tells you is that within a year, right, 12 months, your house that you purchased should be worth 18% more than you purchased it at. This is what we're kicking into again. This is where we're having fun. Right, notice we're still not under that growth trend line that started all the way back here in May. All right, let me see. Let me move this up here so you guys can actually see. Each one of these colors corresponds to a different year. Right, and what you can see is it goes all the way back to 2015. Right, and this is a price per square foot on this side. This is the weeks of the year on this, and as you can see, very general slow trend line up. Little bit of a dip here. Right. And then we had that great little COVID boom that kicked everything off when people started working from home, which let that entire last year, of let's say that one would be 2021, right, when we're rocketing up and the party ends here. And then it started to trend back down. Notice we still never dropped down below the 2021 numbers. Right. 2022, we're still trying to play catch up. And that's mostly because of this drop from that May point, right, to where we hit the bottom of our pool right here in the second week of January, and where we're tracking back up. But if you notice how this slope keeps going up, and we tend to have a little kind of a dip right here, see a little bit of the dip right there, all right, as things get hot, we're actually projecting we will cross back over about September and October, and price per square foot year over year will be an overall increase. Right, that's why watching numbers are so important to understand how these numbers work. If you need me to re-explain this to you, give me a call. I'll chat yours off. In fact, we meet at a bar. I'll pull out a napkin, draw you stuff on a piece of paper, but you're buying. I'm not making that mistake again. So that's the first thing we want to look at. All right, we're trending up. We're 6% up and over. Next one we want to look at is this chart right here. All right, this is your single family build permits. All right, why is housing keep going up? Well, because we keep having more and more chip factories, more and more reasons why people move into Phoenix. All right, they are consistently coming in. And this right here is your single family permits. These are permits that are applied for at the county going, I want a permit to build a house. All right, a single family permit is a house, not multiple dwellings. All right, that's a completely different permit status. All right, but when we're talking houses for buy or sells, you can watch the apartments because more apartments mean rents go down, which means it might actually be cheaper to rent than to buy. All right, but as you can see, we hit the bottom right here at 2009. That was the bottom of the barrel, and they still built over, 1,700 houses that year in a crashing economy, in a serious down cycle, and builders were still building, and then we started trending back up. Now notice. All right, our market started falling off in 07. All right, everybody calls it a crash of 08. It actually started in November of 07, and we saw it all the way through 06 that it was coming. We in the industry, right? If your agents weren't telling you that at the time, well, they might not have been listening to Tina. They might not have been, running the numbers themselves, and they were just lost in the woods. I bet you most of those people aren't real estate agents today. Right. But as you can see, during that really super big spike, they built over 16,000 houses a year, applied for permits. I should throw in a caveat on here. Just because a permit is applied for does not mean a house comes up at the end of the day. There's always going to be some fallout. Right? Permits will get applied for, costs will overrun, they will withdraw the permit, they won't secure the land and be able to clear title on it, whatever the reason is. Right? But as you can see, we have not been at this low of a build rate all the way back here till about 2016. Right? This is the lowest we've been in over, what, 9 years? 7 years? Right? And then we had those two big run years, 21, 22. Notice, even with these houses being built in, right, in 21 and 22, right, we're still rocketing. We're still rocketing up. It wasn't until much later, once that crash started, permits have already been applied for. And at a certain point, they were still waiting for those things to come undone. So, and the other thing is, remember, this is year over year. All right, as of the end of April each year. So don't come back to me with a, hey, Ray, it's only May. What are you talking about? Of course, we're not going to have as much as we did last year. We're only, 5 months into it. Year over year corrects for that. All right, and that's where you can see, all right, a year over year at the end of April. April, we had just started, just about to start getting crazy. All right, that's your reflection. So, but at this point, half as many houses as we had the year prior. All right. This is what's keeping us from a big correction, house rates to go, prices to go down. This is the number you have to ask people. Every time you hear somebody out saying, the housing market is about to crash, ask them, where are the houses coming from? We're not building them. This right here, we're building them at half the rate that we should be. We're not even building them at the rate back in 1996 when we had less of a population, right? Or 97 or 2000. We had less people living in the valley back in 2000. You'd think people would be building houses based off a percentage of population. Right? We still haven't hit that point. In fact, we are not even returned to pre-crash numbers here. Right? We were barely returning to pre-crash numbers here. And that's because of that glut caused by this year here and this year here and sort of this year right here. That glut of housing that got built, right, that we have been working our way through. And it'd be really interesting to see if this 2022, not just because of the COVID and everything, maybe 2019 here, maybe is that when we finally finished up working through the glut. I don't think so because, inventory. All right, we can track the inventory's numbers back, but just hypothetical. Great idea on that. So, other thing to call out when you're looking at these things is foreclosures. That's the next thing you're going to hear. Oh my God, there's going to be foreclosures, right? All right. Today's, as of this May 19th, I should say, right? This is when Cromford reported this. Pending foreclosure count was 993. All right. Remember, what's our inventory like? All right. Our inventory is all the way up here. All right. We're right at 12,000. That's not even going to be a tenth. All right. That's going to be what, about 0.7? Anyway, maybe 7% added. We dropped 900 properties on the market all of a sudden because of a foreclosures. That still only goes up to 13. Right? That takes this number right here, this 53.1 supply, might move it into the mid-60s. Right? We will still not have enough houses if every one of those go to foreclosure. And you know what's going to happen to those 93 houses? They're coming on the market. Seriously, those people who are facing a foreclosure have a billion real estate agents knocking on the doors, leaving door hangers, calling them up, sending them emails, coming up with any way to go, hey, do you want to sell your house before the bank takes it? They're probably going to not use that copy, right? I would use that copy. Do you want to sell your house before the bank takes it? You want to put some money in your pocket before the bank takes it all? You want to move at your convenience, not when the sheriff shows up and tells you to leave? So the count in September of 2009, right? 2009, September, we had 50,000 houses in the foreclosure pipeline, right? That's from notice of trustees, sale, all the way through. 50,000, and we churned through them all, right? Average for the last 21 years, all right, has been 10,000. On average, we should have 10,000. We have 990 something, all right? That's how low the foreclosure rate is. And you remember, foreclosures don't just happen in bad economies. People lose their jobs in good economies. People quit their jobs in good economies. People wind up having serious life crises, right, and are unable to make that payment. In some cases, people die and their heirs don't realize it or don't take over the payments, and the bank starts a foreclosure process not knowing that mom or dad in that house are died. Right? These kind of things, right? And as of this moment, it's not going to be foreclosures. There's no shadow inventory. There's nothing sitting out there in the background. The forbearance things have all been worked out. Right? It is just the new normal. This is where we're at right now. The only things that can really slow this market up at this point is going to be a recession. Right? The kind of recession that means you lose your job and you move in with mom and dad. Right? Kind of recession that's going to stop these companies from building these chip manufacturing plants. For some reason, people stop moving to Arizona. This kind of level stuff. War with China. I tell you what, if we get in a war with China, you're going to see half of California moving here just trying to get out of ICBM range. So maybe we'll get all of Hawaii. Who knows? You know, but the only thing that's going to get us in a balanced market and stuff like that is for that building rate to come back up. All right, that's what we got to do. So write your Congress critters. All right, talk to your local boards. All right, and asking what they're doing to get more houses built. Right, and affordable houses, not the big McMansions. All right, we need to see starting prices in the mid 300s. Right, if you could come up with a subdivision and put 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage, no frills, and if you could put them in there within an easy driving distance to downtown Phoenix, all right, for $350, you'll be sold out in the weekend. We'll be back to having people camp out on the streets just to get in line for one of those houses. But it's going to be that price point. Right? And at this point, that price point doesn't exist. So, anyways. So what does this mean to you, the consumer? Well, if you are hoping to buy a house, all right, and you're afraid of the interest rates, all right, yes, you're going to be paying an interest rate higher than your older brother or sister who bought 2 years prior to you. All right, we're never seeing those numbers again. All right, we're in the 7s right now, based off of that one. All right, I personally, on the street, I'm hearing 6s all day long, but those are national numbers. Let's just go with the 7s. We're in the 7s. Historically, the historical interest rate has been at 7.7. All right, we're historical. We're norm. Your temperature is 98.6. All right. So what's holding you back after the interest rate? It's going to be that down payment that you need. All right. And it's going to be sticker shock. All right. Now, our affordability index, we have a problem with that because houses cost more than your average income for a family of 4 to be able to afford the houses out there. So that's going to be a huge marker on it. And I can't help you with a better paying job. Hopefully you stayed in school. Hopefully you went and developed a skill that people will pay you more money than a Walmart greeter go do. Right? But if you're in that area, you can start shopping. Right? If you're at the point where you're bringing in the money, you can start shopping. You don't even need to save money up anymore. Rocket Mortgage just came out. They're announcing a 1%. 1% down. Terms and conditions apply. All right? That's what Rocket Mortgage is putting in the news today. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be tied in with an income cap in the area that you're buying into. A lot of cases, you know, when you see this extra money, there's something to do with they don't want you making too much money for the income area that you're moving into. Call your lender for that. They have the actual numbers. Remember, I'm not a lender, just a real estate agent. Talk to your lenders. All right. FHA is still 3.5. All right. If you're ex-military, you got out and you have that magical, wonderful document that you worship just under the Constitution called a DD-214, all right, you qualify for, a VA loan, right? 0 down, really cheap, and a lower interest rate than anything else out there. What happens if you wait? Well, that house that you're looking at is just going to be more expensive in a year. Like I said, we're 6% in the last 20 weeks. Right? $300,000 house. That house is, $300,000 back in January the 8th. All right, is now $318. That's how those numbers work. Right? If you're looking to sell, well, the longer you stay in the place, harder it's going to be, or the more your place is going to be worth. If you don't have to move right now this second, there's an argument for staying around. Where are you going to go? Right? I always ask people, where are you going to go? I'm moving out of state. No problem. Let's rock. Right? I'm selling my house. Just got married, moving with my wife in her house. Great. Let's sell that place. Let's also have a conversation about renting that out. Get a little cash flow going on. All right. But let's do that. All right. Whatever the reason is. Okay. Remember, you're going to be looking at possibly losing that at a lower interest rate and paying for a higher interest rate, but in a position where you're downsizing. Right? And you're downsizing, and it's like the kids are gone. It's just you and the husband, and all you need is 2 rooms, 1 bedroom, 1 office room or guest bedroom, maybe a garage out so you guys can hide from each other, because God, you've been married for 40 freaking years right now. And now that he's retired, you didn't realize how annoying he is. Hey, we could also deal with that too, divorce side. We do divorces over here. But that kind of change. Depending on where this interest rate goes, might be a good time to lock in that low rate. You might want to ride it out, all right? But remember, when you're getting ready to sell, it's always a very personal decision based on your specific moment in time. Don't ask me, you think October, December would be a good time to sell, all right? Those are traditionally a little bit down markets, all right? Because there's not that many buyers out there because they're all, they're all done with getting ready for the holidays, all right? But make that decision based on your specific situation. Just like the buyers. The buyers need to look at their specific situation. You need to look at yours. So, reasons why I wouldn't buy. All right. I would not buy a house if I knew I was taking a job somewhere else next year. All right. It's going to just remember, rule of thumb. Okay. And remember my Boondock Saints response to anybody who comes up with an argument about rule of thumbs. All right. Great movie. Watch it. All right, rule of thumb, all right, if you're not staying in the house for at least 5 years, you probably shouldn't be buying into it. And the reason for that is going to cost you about 10% of your sell price to get rid of that thing. That's a really good number to use, all right? And at a 2% annual appreciation, that'll put you right at about 5 years. Actually, put you more like 4.5, but still, all right? If you're moving, don't do that. All right, you can rent. All right. No. If you're looking to sell and you wonder, should I sell or not? Only reason why I tell you not to sell is if you don't know where you're going to live afterwards. All right. Doesn't make any sense to step off of that equity escalator, all right, to go rent for 1.5 years and then have to step back on that escalator somewhere because you've just lost 1.5 years worth of equity growth and you've been paying rent for 1.5 years. All right. And no matter what the interest rate is today, remember one thing, the interest rate on rent is always 100%. So that's pretty much it. I mean, hey, for saying I didn't have anything to talk about, we just gone through 23 minutes of this thing. So, all right, from the top, say it with me, boys and girls. All right, in the key of C, watch your children and pets around the water. Don't drive into the flooded areas. Work your circles and have a great day. Thank you guys very much.